Today we're broadcasting from the workshop of Drift Masters driving, and he was started his career just 5 years ago. And yeah, I'm talking about Nasser Alharbali. Today we'll talk about the top 1 drift championship judging and why you should not really start drifting. So make sure to be subscribed and let's immediately get started.
No one's ready for Drift Masters, no matter how good they are. They're not. If you learn to accept little, you're never really going to succeed in what really matters in life. I don't want my son one day to have to worry about paying his medical bills unless he podiums. At many times I wanted to quit. I wanted to just pack up and leave. I thought to myself, like, maybe this is not for me. You need to make a living, and this is not one of the ways. Definitely stay away from drifting. Clear away from drifting. Do it for fun, not more.
Fresh X.
Thank you for having us here. And I wanted just to start with the intro question. So we've got the chance to catch you between your travels, between your championships. So kind of tough season.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be this way, but
I want to start from your never-ending season because you had the Middle East part from the winter time, and then when the summer started, you go to the Drift Masters. So which exact championship are you participating for the whole this season? What was the start of the season exactly?
I can't really say when the start was. So since we decided to do the DMEC last year, actually the year before it, now I'm lost in count, but we built the S13. That's, for me, that's the start, because we did OIDC season in the S13, and then since then I've been having a non-stop season. So
from 2024.
Yeah, so 2 years. There isn't one series that I'm doing. I'm just trying to find where is the highest level of driving in Europe, and I'm trying to participate as much as I can in all of them. And the reason is adapting, to adapt to many different driving styles, judging styles, because it's one thing to do the same competition always.
Yeah, sure.
But it's different when you're driving against people you've never seen before. Yeah. So we're doing DMP. DMP is the only one that I'm fully doing, start to finish, which is the Polish Drift Championship. We aimed at that because it is the highest level of driving in Europe after Drift Masters. And they have a lot of DMEC drivers. And the judges are the same judges from Drift Masters. So that keeps you within the same. They do have different requirements in judging, but it's still almost the same in judging style and what they're looking for.
So you can train on the Polish one and then
so now doing Drift Masters, I understand what they want a lot more. And the other stuff that I'm doing is Baltic, the Estonian, Latvian, Lithuanian, this series. They have several different series going together, and the reason why I'm doing this is because I think the Baltic has the most demanding tracks in the world. You see the elevation change over there when the car is coming down. You see now from outside that you look at it from a distance, that's an insane elevation change. Over here is very tricky because as a driver, when you're coming from up there, you have no clue where the stern is going, muscle memory. This is where I told you the car flipped out.
This car, as he leaves behind, there's pedal that V8S13 down towards it. It was on 1. There's a pedal that car, lots of smoke coming from the back of his S chassis. As he collects out of zone 2, starts to descend down to zone 3, transitions back down to zone 4. It's a very, very fast one from Nasser. As he comes around down zone 4, nice and wide, starts to tuck that car in towards inner clip 1, very inside there for inner clip 1, across out of zone 5 and across the line for Nasser Alharbali. They're
really tough, and it's not about speed, it's really about blind corners. That's the best way I can put it.
Yeah, I've heard one interview about from the Estonian guy, I don't remember the name, he's from Drift Masters, and he said that our local Estonian ones are one of the toughest, and Lithuanian too, so they're kind of tricky.
Yeah, because they're using full-on rally car, tracks, and they're doing drift like competitions on them. So there's a lot of blind corners and there's insane elevation changes. So one of the trickiest one is coming up, not next weekend, the weekend after it, which I'm doing, just called Witchketel. And it's only blind corners. So you never see your next transition. You transition before a hill.
Predict,
yeah. So there's 3 transitions and they're all happening on top of a hill. And we're talking like the elevation changes is where you can't see the other side of the track. And I think this like builds a lot of commitment into a driver. So that's why I'm trying to do like different things. So there's Baltic, there's DMP, there's Drift Masters where we wildcarded in 3 rounds.
You've done so much for this season and last season.
To get seat time, yes. Mainly to get seat time and experience. That was my goal and my target for this year. It's not about winning, it's not about I want to do this series or that series or I want to show up on this stream or this. It's only about getting seat time.
Because as much as I could.
To do good in Drift Masters, you need to go outside your comfort in every way.
It's really fantastic, I would say, because you've been drifting, I mean, for 5 or 4 seasons?
Yeah, now
in competition.
Now it's 5 seasons. Like with this year, it's 5 seasons competing.
So it wasn't
4 seasons.
It wasn't like, mostly when we're discussing with people their love for drifting, they said, okay, when I was 5, it was my dream, but now it's your conscious decision, yes?
I found out about drifting before I start by maybe 1 month. When I found out about it, I started.
So you started from rally, right?
No, I used to be like a weekend dragger. So we used so we used to drag race, but not in a competitive way. But I still competed in drag racing, but I wouldn't say that it was competitive. I would just say it's like a phase for someone young who has access to cars, where we did it like for fun, but then at some point it was like, yeah, I wanted to compete a little bit, but I wouldn't say like I did it at a professional level, no. Welcome to my shop, my humble shop. So this is my workshop here. I actually live really close, so it's convenient for me. And this is where we do most of the work on the cars and building them. There's not much going on right now because, there's one car in Europe and the other car, the practice car, is in the track. And the new car is being built at another shop. Since I'm not around, I gave it to them. It's actually really close to your shop. It's around 10 minutes from here.
Quite.
Yeah, so...
Let's start from any of
the cars. You want to talk about the cars or?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the OG. This is where it all started. So
it's your first proper car for drifting, right?
It's my first car in drifting, period. Like I didn't have another car. This was a full-on street car when I got it. It was white. It was a full street car, and I drifted it as it was for like roughly a year with just minor stuff done to it. And then after that year, that's when I wanted to start competing. So I started building it, and I built this in my house with my wife. I've done every single thing on this car, like start to finish, touched every single part of it. I built the engine myself. So this was the first engine. Yeah, this was the first engine that I fully built. So in the past, I'm sorry, everything is dirty because it's been sitting in the dust.
No worries.
But this is the first engine that I built completely from the ground up myself. It's a very simple setup. It's actually a 6-liter. And there's nothing fancy about it. It's just like a forged crank, forged pistons, forged rods. Factory heads that are ported, so also not anything fancy over there. And my favorite, a Magnuson supercharger, which is what I run on all my setups. This is slightly a different configuration. It looks different, but internally it's the same. And it's less heat efficient. So the new superchargers that I use are better heat efficient than this, for drifting at least. And it's not really built in the best way. So this is built in the worst way.
In somehow.
Yeah, this is kind of just built to do the job, not to look fancy in any way or anything like that. So, but it has really good components on it. So it has 3-way shocks all around. It runs an FDF kit in the front. This is actually one of the first kits that they did, and I've improved a lot on it. So we've done like a lot of changes on it. We haven't switched to YSFAB on this just because I don't really use it that much. So actually I don't use it at all right now. So this is like how it was for the past 4 years now. When we first swapped engines from the VQ, it was a naturally aspirated engine, which I built locally. I didn't build it myself. I bought it from someone that built it for me, but we built it at a very high standard. It was a very high compression, 13:1 compression
Oh yeah, it's
LS. Yeah. And it made good power, but it wasn't enough for Oman. It made around close to 580, 570 to the wheels, which is plenty, but it doesn't have the bottom end torque to run the tires that I run, the Velinos RS. It was good enough to keep up when we were running like Westlakes. It was good. Like with that power level, it was in the sweet spot. When the grippy tires came in, we had to jump up the power and think boost. This is only 750 to the wheel, and we can push it to 850, but I've never had to run that setup in the Middle East. I think in the Middle East, going anything over 750, 800 is not necessary. If you want, you can do that, but then you're gonna need to run bigger tires. Bigger tires means more things break, which then brings us to the next step, which is this is still running a factory differential. So it runs an R200. You see there's a lot of them over there.
Yeah.
And I run the R200 just because for this power level and this grip, I run the RS tires, 160 tread wear. It's plenty to hold the grip without braking. We do brake them every now and then, but it's not common. And it's not a problem about switching the quick change. Not switching to a quick change was never about like the cost. It was more about, I don't want to mess up
weight distribution.
A setup that really works well, because out of all my cars, this is still the fastest one. It finds grip better than the others, and we're trying still to understand why. I believe it's just because it doesn't have the bottom end torque that the newer engines that I run have. And that's why we're now switching my new engines to this engine, like to similar setup on this engine, which is a lower compression.
In this case?
Yeah, this is a 10-to-1. And the transmission is a dog box transmission. It's a 4-speed NASCAR transmission. I really think these are the most reliable transmissions out there. I like the Samsonas because of how precise the shifting is with the sequential, but these do have an internal base that make them more rigid or more stable. And no matter what, you can still run it. Even if you have first, second, and third gear brake, you can still run the track on fourth gear because it's a direct 1-to-1. So I like that. They're really simple. There's nothing much to them other than that. The body itself is mostly carbon Kevlar, but some parts are carbon fiber, like the doors and the hood and the fenders for just aesthetics. But most of it is Kevlar, so it takes a lot of beating. It's pretty much a very simple setup. We run YSWAB in the rear and FDF up front because that's where I found it worked best. Back then, we were not also worrying about sponsors or anything like that, so I was free to run whatever I want. I'm still free to run whatever I want, but now most of my cars are running YSWAB, so we're sticking with that. They just tend to work better. I think they are indeed in a good way.
I want to maybe move to the Drift Masters part because it's kind of wide range of questions about it. How did it happen that you're now participating in the second season in Drift Masters?
So I think it was a big leap of faith. So in the region over here, I've been lucky, and the reason I've been lucky is because around the time where I started taking drifting serious, there wasn't so much competition, so I was able to dominate the region. But again, because there wasn't so much competition. So in UAE, there is a lot of drivers, there's a lot of drift cars, but again, it's purely a hobby for them. So they do not have the dedication to spend a lot of time and money into it. It's more of a weekend thing for them.
Yeah, it's more for fun.
Yeah. So when the season starts and there's competitions going on, it is purely about fun for them. So the thing is, when you have one person that's willing to take it more serious, it's obvious that he's going to shine.
Yep.
And that comes with the misconception that, oh, I'm really good. In reality, maybe you're not really good, but the people around you aren't so good. So I did really good here for the seasons that I've competed in EDC. And again, it's purely because I took it more serious than others. And when I went to Oman, I also got lucky that season, and I was fully focused, and I had a car and a setup that I was very tuned in with. So yeah, I managed to do really good in OIDC against like top drivers from across the world. But it was a very perfect setup. Like it was 4 rounds, and all the 4 rounds like lined up with my luck. And the 4 rounds I was consistent, the car had no issues, the setup was there, I was very tuned in with the car, and I managed to like win in the overall, to podium in the overall. And that gave me like a big boost of confidence. But the reality, you're not always gonna have this luck, and skill will always win.
It was with S13, right?
It was the 350.
Ah, 350.
It was the S13, the whole DMEC concept wasn't even there yet. It was just like a topic that me and Hiza discussed, that because he was also stepping into taking very serious with me. We were approaching more sponsors. We started getting really accredited in the region. And it was easier to get sponsorships when we were always on the podium here, and everything, in grassroots, in EDC, in Oman, like we almost always podiumed. So it was starting to become like an easy setup to get podiums, and also ego. It's built an ego where I started thinking, I want to jump to something harder. So obviously, being from this region, going to DMEC is realistic because it's the closest thing within range.
Yep.
And it's also, for me personally, I find that Drift Masters is the highest level of driving. Everyone has their opinion, and I respect everyone's opinion. In my opinion, I think Drift Masters is the highest level of driving. And not just as in driving, but as in overall. The rules make it tough when you have no mono tire, when you have like a lot of grip in the cars, small tracks that have a lot of speed, and you know, you have the tires to do that. So I was like, I think I can do Drift Masters. So I told us that if one of us podiums this year in the overall, because we went to never podiuming in Oman to podiuming every round.
Yep.
And every round qualifying with high points and so on and so forth. He was very tuned in and synced in with his car, and I was very tuned in and synced in with my car. And we started again like having that, you know, like that image in OIDC where you're expecting this guy to do good. And that comes with like ego and belief in that, oh, I can do it, I'm that good. So I told you, like at the end of the season, I managed to be on the podium in the overall, and I thought that I'm ready to do Drift Masters.
And actually you are.
And actually I'm not. That's the reality. No, it's there's nothing wrong with being realistic. You know, like there is a point where everyone has to think, is this for me? And I questioned myself this thing last year a lot of times when I competed in 6 rounds and only qualified in 2. And a lot of things start, you know, playing with your head, like, is the car fine? Is it me? Is it my team? Is it this? And it was a mix of a lot of things. You know, it's a mix of a lot of things. It's a new region. I've never competed really that far outside my comfort zone. I was new to the car because we built the S13 for that. And then we took it over there with a recipe that doesn't really work. And I had no time to fix it because I was constantly just competing. And Drift Masters is not a place to get seat time, because in any Drift Masters round, I think the maximum amount of practice runs I got was maybe 6. That's if I'm lucky. Most of the rounds, it's like 4. And then you gotta qualify against the titans of the world in drifting. And you gotta do it as fast as you can, because even your qualifying runs are timed. They don't say it on the live stream, but they know the time of every run because they monitor your car, and they can tell even if you're on the rev limiter and making a lot of flames and pops and foot braking and stuff, they finish the run and they know that you're the slowest one. You know, so they look at everything.
so differs from the Middle East, I guess, thing.
Yeah,
and,
it's like I never finished.
Level range of
exactly, I never finished a run in EDC or an OIDC and went like I was the fastest one. I never cared. It's how I did it. And over there, everything counts. So the reality is, I was not ready. So it was a big, questioning to my confidence. And at many times, I wanted to quit. I wanted to just pack up and leave. I thought to myself, like, maybe this is not for me. I'm doing good back home. Maybe I should stick doing it over there, and that's it. And we committed to only doing the 6 rounds last year, nothing else outside that, because we had no time. We were constantly changing things between rounds, suspension setup. And it was hectic, it was frustrating. I wasn't in the right zone or mood.
How did you handle this?
It was very pressuring. Like there's one of the rounds where when I didn't qualify, I left the car and I jumped into my car and left, and my team didn't actually know that I was already halfway to Dubai. So it is very frustrating. Drifting.
Do you still have this one for this
season? No, the difference this season is that, again, I came back with the mentality. I had 2 choices. Either I quit last year, or I maybe not quit drifting, but just come back to the Middle East and face it that I have failed, and there's nothing wrong about failing. It just depends, like, are you gonna come back or not? And I think it took me time to realize that it's too early to judge. It's too early to do that. And even if it's too early, I don't think I will ever reach a point where I will say this is not for me. I think I'm too stubborn to accept it. So, because it was the same concept with many things that I've passed through in my life, where like I've failed many times, like a lot of times. And I only eventually succeeded because I was very stubborn to see that.
So you gave the second chance for this season?
Yeah, so this season I came back, and I came back with a positive vibe. And even though my winter season wasn't even that good, because my winter season, again with the new car in OIDC, I didn't even get close to what I used to do in the past in the 350. Mm-hmm. And I had both cars on the track, and my team, like my teammate Linus and Victor that were driving the 350 would many times tell me, like, you want to jump into this car and we switch? I'm fine with it, because I know I can go out in the 350 and do better, but I didn't want to. I wanted to do the 370 better. So I guess stubborn is what got me back, and I'm glad that I did it that way, because I feel a lot more competitive this year. I've constantly qualified in everything that I went to. I think the only round this year that the car completely failed me was Riga. Mm-hmm. And I think I will always stay stubborn. I don't think I'm gonna quit because I can't do this. But I will never give up, because I will ever say to myself, like, maybe this isn't for me. Because I think it's for everyone if they put their mind and heart into it. Like, maybe getting to the level of like James Dean, you need to have like an out of this world, like skill, like a talent. But drifting is like swimming, it's a skill that you can learn, and it's reaction time. And I think with time, everyone can become really good at it, and luck comes a lot into drifting. Skill always wins, but luck is important. Just
for viewers and for me too, what are the conditions you can participate in Drift Masters? With the wild card or just the constant participant? What are the conditions?
To compete in Drift Masters, it's very tough. It's really tough, because they are getting so they have the wild cards obviously and the solid cars. So the cars that are doing a full season, you need to apply when they open the dates, like any other competition, for applying. And they get approximately 150 to 200 applicants from around the world. And they need to choose from those only 40. And every year they're dropping the amount of drivers. So before I started, it was 50. And then when I started, it became 40. And they're planning next year to make it 30. So they're planning to...
How is the top 32?
Yeah, that's the thing. Because the thing is, in Drift Masters, you're always seeing the same faces, always. So they want to give a chance for wild cards to try, because the only way they can really, no one is ready for Drift Masters. That's what I tell everyone, and everyone like thinks I'm exaggerating. No one's ready for Drift Masters, no matter how good they are, they're not. If they are drifters, this is something really important. If you started drifting and you come to Drift Masters and you think that you're so good, you're just gonna eliminate everyone and easily qualifying alone is a task, no matter how good you are. And we've seen it with drivers coming from the US that have been dominating FD for several years that couldn't even qualify.
I see that the top, I guess top 20 is 90 points and more.
Yeah,
so you've got 89 at the Riga or at the Germany one, and you've got one in the last year.
In Riga to qualify, I think the minimum was 80. Sorry, in Germany, I think it was 86. That's the minimum score. In Finland,
it's one of the highest, I guess, in the Middle East when you're qualifying.
Yeah, exactly. So getting over there, it's like in OIDC, if I get anything above 90, then I should be in the top 4.
Yeah, and here at the meet, at least.
Yeah, again, look, I'm not saying that drifting in the Middle East is a low level or anything like that. No, this is my home. I love it, and I love drifting over here.
Really.
In fact, I think the driving level here is very good in comparison to how much people drive, because people in the Middle East don't drive that much. Although people say like we drift a lot. The drivers that are competing in the competition season in their pro cars never show up in summer. And yet they still go to OIDC and put a good fight in OIDC. So I think the driving level in the Middle East is very good comparing to how old drifting is here. I mean, when I started drifting was almost new. So like drifting here is like maybe 6 years old, while in Europe it's like 20 something, 25. Or in America, it's like 20-something also. FDA, I think this year is their 21st anniversary.
10th. Right? 10th of Europe, right?
Drift Masters is 10.
10 years, yeah.
And FD is 20-something, 21. Yeah, so when they were drifting, like I only found out about drifting like a couple of weeks before I started. I didn't even know it existed. So in comparison to how long we've been drifting here, it's really good. Plus, the government makes it easy for us to drift here. It's not like in Europe where if I want to rent a track, it's a lot harder in some countries, in some places. So I think drifting here is really, really good, but it's obviously not at the level of Drift Masters. Of course, everyone wants to be a pro everywhere. Like, I mean, this is why everyone does it, but it depends what's the reason.
Do you have this reason for yourself?
For me, the reason is just because it's who I am. Whenever I do anything, I like to be the best at it. I like to be not the best comparing to everyone, but I mean the best version of me at it. Whatever the best I can do, I will put my heart and soul into it. I would rather put my heart and soul into something than not do it at all. Because if I'm not gonna commit 100% to it, then there's just no point of doing it. I'm not gonna go to something and go like, yeah, I didn't really try, I didn't care. I find that people that say this are not being honest, because no one goes to lose, you know? If someone shows up at even a local competition and they claim that they don't care, they're just here to have fun. Well, you can have 10 times more fun at a practice night. You can drift as much as you want and stuff. We all come to win. It just depends how much work are you willing to put into it.
And are you considering it like a work, like a hobby, like which part of your life? Because I guess your occupation is not connecting with the drifting.
Yeah,
it was something with the interior.
Yeah, but like there are ways that we are making money out of drifting now because of the scale that we're doing it at. A lot of sponsors are willing to jump on board, and also we actually sell a lot of team merch now. So that's becoming like a thing. I'm gonna soon start like an online store because it's becoming where I can't do it anymore manually. We are making some money out of it, but obviously it's nowhere close where my actual business like makes me an income. I wouldn't call it at this point that it's a hobby, it's more of an addiction. Is it a good addiction or a bad addiction? It's definitely better than doing drugs. So I wouldn't say it's a bad addiction, but it's not really an important addiction. It's like somewhere between a waste of time, and at the same time, it's not a waste of time. There is ways of finding potential into making it a main source of income, but if anyone has a dream of becoming a drifter and making a living out of it, I would tell them they're wasting their time, unless they have a dream of being simple, like living a simple life. But if they dream of living big, drifting is not the way to go. Maybe some people get lucky and they do that, but maybe I have this mentality because I live in Dubai, you know, because living in Dubai, the average condition of people is a bit higher than other places. So people here need more. So that's why drifting is not a way of making a living, in my opinion, no matter what level you get to. This car, the 370, is what has been making us go crazy for the past couple of months, because we built this car. Maybe you want to take a look from the front.
Yeah.
So we built this car to replace the S13. Unfortunately, the S13 is not here to show you it. It's the S13 drivetrain is identical to this drivetrain. So it's the same engine combination, the same transmission, the same differential. Both are completely on Y-swap front and rear. And this is, was, because now we changed the engine again, an 11-to-1 compression with a Magnuson 265 supercharger. And it does around 800 wheel on its slowest setup. The problem is that it does 800 wheel at its slowest setup. We cannot pull down the power without running into more issues. And if we stay at that power, we're running into more issues. So head gasket was always an issue. And that's hence why we're switching to that setup, because that setup is a lower compression. It's much more reliable. It's just not as aggressive as this one. I've learned over time we don't need that because that's hurting us finding grip. This car was built with sparing no cost. So when we built it, we were really focusing on just making the nicest and most beautiful piece. So there was no cost spared in any way. We pushed everything beyond the limit of what was worth it to do. But the problem is that it was heavy, because I thought that I need the weight. Well, I do need the weight if I want to run 285s, but I've decided after running the 285s in the DMEC that I don't want to run 285s. I want to stick with 265s. So that's why now we're re-engineering the car almost from scratch. So we switched suspension in front, completely different shocks. We've valved the shocks in a different way now. We've changed brakes, we've changed sway bars.
Already.
Everything. So there's nothing as it was from OIDC. The angle kit is a different angle kit. The shocks are different. The sway bar is different. We weren't even running sway bars back then, hence why it was very uncontrollable. Even the engine, we changed the engine to a lower compression. We're running
still less.
Yeah, we're running more boost, but with less compression. So it will equate to still giving us like 850 to the wheels, 800, but it's more manageable. So I can dial it down to like 750 if I want to. I can go up to 1,000 plus if I want to. It's at a sweet spot where we don't have to worry about reliability, because reliability with the 11-to-1 was an issue. Same thing with the interior, like that one is like really simple. This is a bit more fancy. We have a lot of more electronics in this car, so, sorry, and bashes and hits. So this car runs like PDMs inside, and that car just runs like relays, just regular relays. A lot simpler. Everything was built budget. I actually made the harness on that car. And in this car, like we got a professional person to do it like mil spec. We paid more attention to this to make it like the top of the line. But sometimes, you know, money doesn't buy everything.
You have some carbon parts on the roll cage. What is the reason?
Yeah. Just not to scratch the paint when you get it.
Okay.
Plus also it's just a waste of money.
Okay.
So,
up to you.
Yeah, everything on this car was like custom made to make it special. Like even the handbrake, we custom made one, the steering wheel, the seat, the dashboard. We tried to customize everything to make it as unique as possible.
Is it the carbon part in the seat? No? Am I mistaken?
Yeah, it's a carbon Kevlar seat. It was custom made by Corbo. The handbrake is like we custom made it here by our friend Ibrahim, and the steering wheel by Grip Royal, one of my good sponsors.
And it's still heavy. There is tons of carbon fiber or Kevlar parts.
Yeah, but because they're not designed to be light. Like it's Kevlar, but the seat is heavy. It's quite heavy. And the cage, the biggest issue about this car is the cage. The cage is made out of T45 and it's around 70 kilograms.
And for the distribution, I guess there is too much weight on the front part compared to the rear.
Yeah. So
there is almost nothing.
Yeah, but no,
I know it's missing for the
because now it has like the ice tank, it's removed, the fuel tank is removed, the radiator is removed.
Tell me a bit more about ice tank, as it's the
I can show you it if you want. It's quite a simple setup. I've done this in the old days when... this is heavy. Okay. They're a bit dirty, the parts. Sorry, just a second. Yeah. So this is the usual ice tank that I run. It's quite a simple setup. These are now, like, they've become very common that a lot of companies make them in a way that they're compact. We use the smallest size. It's basically just a tank. If it can open, yeah, here. It's quite dirty right now, but there's a water pump inside, which is the same that we use on Marines, bilge pump. And we fill it up. This takes around 7 liters. It's integrated with our heat exchanger for the supercharger. And what happens with this is that on hot days, if the IATs start climbing past 55, 50, or 60, in order to keep the inlet charges colder, like the IATs colder, we fill it up with ice before the runs. And then it just keeps the water sustaining a temperature a bit longer than it would if it wasn't there.
How would you describe yourself outside the drifting part, like the person?
It's hard to say now because it's been 2 years.
Yes, that's why I'm asking. Who are you without drifting, apart from?
I travel a lot, and before drifting. So I've always, me and my wife and my son, we always travel. Like outside drifting, whenever I get any free time, even now, like I've still went on 2 family vacations this summer. I know, in between the rounds. I would say outside drifting, work for me is like really like focused and serious. I show up to get something done and I leave. I'm very serious at my work. And it's a side of me that I don't show to people. So like even with my family and my wife and my son and my friends, they never really see my work side. It's very serious and focused, get things done quickly, and that's it. But mostly traveling. I love adventures. I love traveling. I love going places that I've never been to before. I don't like traveling to the same place twice. We have a thing, me and my wife, where like we have a commitment that every year we have to travel 20 days to places that we've never been before with no plans, which means like we show up at the airport and we plan there what we're gonna do.
Not a systematic approach.
Yeah, like this summer we planned that we were supposed to go to Korea. I was out of the country. She booked the flights and everything, and I came back and packed another suitcase and we went back. And then we reached the airport and I discovered at the airport that we're supposed to fill up some medical form and you have to apply it like at least 8 hours before. And it was already check-in time. And the next flight was like in another 9 hours. And we have my son with me, 3.5 years old, so it's not easy. So we're like, now we're gonna have to go back home and come back again after 8 hours to the next flight. And I didn't wanna go back. So I asked them, because we always discussed either Korea or Japan. But we were at the airport. So I just was like, when's your next flight to Japan? And then they said, luckily it's the same time. I was like, change to the tickets, change it to Japan. And then I went back to my wife, I told her everything is good, we're fine. We check in and so the check-in person goes like, so you land in Tokyo at this time. She looked at me and was like, Tokyo? I thought we're going to Korea. So I was like, yeah, they're all the same.
Since we discussed in Japan, I have the Blitz questions for you.
Sure.
The first one, what is the Japanese word that's for drift initiation?
Drift initiation?
Yeah, for the initiation. What's the Japanese term for it?
I don't know it.
Furidashi.
Really?
Yes.
I don't follow drifting in Japan at all. Actually, I don't know any of the Japanese drivers except for Nakamura and Daigo Saito, that's it.
What's the key update of the Formula Drift qualifying starting this year?
They removed the qualifying, they made it seeding.
Yep. Who are the winners for Drift Masters for the last 5 years?
Connor Shanahan and Piotr Vincic.
Let's go year by year, maybe.
So I think 5 years ago it was Piotr Vincic.
Okay.
And then the year after it, I think it was Piotr again.
Yes.
And then it was Connor, and then Connor, and then Connor. Oh no, Lauri Heinahan, and then Connor, then Connor.
Yeah, but 5 years ago it was Gen Z.
I think in the E92.
Yeah.
Yeah.
James, Piotr, Connor, and Laurie.
When it was COVID and they did one round, I was there. That's where I decided to do Drift Masters. Yeah.
So it was that moment.
Yeah, and I actually showed up on the live stream that day, me and my wife.
Guess the engine by the sound.
From LS?
Which one, precisely?
Oh, it's a car? It's an actual car? Or is it like a drift engine, basically?
It's the actual car, but it's the drift car, and he has the exact number of LS. Okay.
Repeat again. It sounds like an NA427.
It's the LS7.
Yeah, LS7, like an NA one. It's not boosted.
It's the Corvette one.
Yeah, because it sounds very lazy.
Do you know what is manji?
Yeah, like just like going side to side.
Okay, and the last one, I'll give you the paper. Can you draw the Riga layout?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I'm trying to like remember how it is, so I'll just draw the outer line first, and then.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say it's like that.
Yeah, sure.
One outer zone, second outer zone, inner zone, outer zone, and then the last outer.
Do you have these wow effects from the competing with such a persons in Drift Masters, or it was just the usual competition that you need to focus on and just to compete?
Obviously,
the first season.
The first time I showed up and I was driving Drift Masters, yeah, it was like, wow, I made it. Like, because I couldn't believe that they accepted me.
It's the new level. Yeah.
I didn't expect when I applied, because it was first a joke with Azza, and then we actually did podium in the overall. I podiumed in the overall, so. I applied, I wasn't expecting that they're going to accept me, and then they did, and that's why we built the S13.
So are they looking for the results for your region and then come up?
So they actually give you a specific criteria for it. They have like a percentage of how they judge, because they want to take a really accurate decision if you deserve to be there or not. So they look at everything. They look at your social media credentials, how much can you bring for this event as an awareness? How much people know you? How much people want to watch you? Because they also want to grow. They want to push the event to another level. So your social media reach, and obviously your skill and your experience overall. Like, have you been drifting for 1 year or 10 years or 15 years? And then what your records are. How much have you won? How much have you actually been able to go on the podium? Obviously, having podiums here is different than having podiums in like America or in Europe or something. So that's why I didn't think I had enough for them to accept me, but they did. So I got lucky. And then...
you deserve it in this case, yeah. With the amount of winnings. So.
According to what they were looking for, I had it on paper. But then in real life, when I went over there, I didn't have the skill to stack up with these guys. I didn't have the car or the skill. And this is motorsport, so you need a car and a team and the skills. So I didn't have 3 of them. I don't think I was ready to drive at that level, because there was a lot of tracks that scared me a lot. You know, like Riga was something hard for me to adapt to, even initiating, because I never had to do something like that. I never had to initiate like that. And also the team, I didn't have the right team, and the car was not. It's not about chassis. It's not ready. It's not set up yet. And I don't have the knowledge to set it up in just a few rounds. Yes, it's a very easy chassis. Everyone can set it up. People can say whatever they want. But I never claimed that I have the knowledge to set it up. I've learned how to set it up. And I'm learning how to set up another car. So getting into Drift Masters, this is what they're looking for. When you come over there, a lot of people that get chosen show up, and then they barely ever qualify. And I didn't qualify. So it was no-brainer for them to tell me this year that you cannot do a full season, but you can wildcard. But we recommend you, since you are that stubborn to come back after such a bad season, get some more seat time, because they saw that according to paper, there is what the credentials that they're looking for. They saw that there was the social media attraction they're looking for. There was like the different attractions. So they're looking at this thing where you're an exotic nationality, or you're coming from an exotic place, or you have an exotic car. So there was some of those. The car is slightly exotic. I am coming from a place where they consider as exotic, like Dubai, which is like...
But still, you have the Salvador on your
but
part of it. Yeah.
Where I learned and where I drift and where I live is Dubai. So depending on that, my nationality is Salvadorian, but I'm based here. I live here. I was born here. They had all the credentials that would want them to choose me again, but the skill was not there. And when I say skill, I mean a person that is capable of going out, putting on a good run and a good show, qualifying with a wow factor, giving us 90 points, letting people drop their jaw like, oh, he came in at like 100 something and tapped the wall. They're looking for that. And that's why I think Drift Masters
is more about show, really. It's it's about skills, of course, but they want people to make this show and smoke and something yet.
That's why when I tell people, I think Drift Masters is the highest level. In Drift Masters, it's very sharp. You know, like you need to go in and you gotta check all the boxes. You need to have speed, style, angle, show, and the wow factor in order to qualify. So that's why I think Drift Masters is the highest level, and that's why they're very picky about who they choose. And if you want to apply as a wild card, it's obviously a lot easier than a full season. The full season is really tough, like really, really tough. Like I think after they have done their experience with me, I think there will be a lot more picky for anyone coming from the Middle East. I think there will be more picky with them to make sure that they're picking wisely. And they have a good reason for that. I followed their advice. I could have, obviously it was hard on me to hear that, like someone telling you you're not good enough to do a full season. But, you know, part of life is either win or fail. So if you fail, you can back out or you can come back again stronger. So I chose the tough route. I don't want to give up.
Anyway, everything that connected with the skills, of course, connected with the right setup of the car, because you can't be like have the best skills if your car is just breaking up and falling apart every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So in this case, I wanted to discuss the Riga round, what it was, because you had one of the best qualifying round. You were 9th, it was 92 points, and then you just didn't make it for the 32.
Yeah, I know.
The start line to even more drama because it doesn't end yet. We're sitting on the line with Nicolas Bertans. There should be a Nasser Alharbali alongside him. Apparently, gearbox issues for Nasser Alharbali, and he's bowed out of top 32 competition. And look at that, Nasser Alharbali down on the grid just to congratulate Bertans and saying well done.
I think that point in Riga was the turning point where now I've synced with the car. Like there's a point, every driver knows it, where they reach a point where they sync with the car. They can completely understand what the car wants and they drive it much better. And that was the point for me. But unfortunately, you know, like things fail. This is motorsport. So I had a very simple failure with the car, which was a release bearing. All the weekend, we actually had smooth, everything was running smooth and the car was running smooth. No engine issues that round. The usual head gasket retorquing, but that's like normal for us now. And everything else was 100% smooth, and practice was great. And we were very consistent in practice and in qualifying. And we had just one very big crash right before the battles, which put me out of the event. And another friend of mine, Pawel Korpulinski, which was my car's fault, it's my fault. So we thought that it was a failed clutch, but it was actually a failed release bearing. And coming up in Riga, you initiate roughly doing actual speed like 130 to 150 kilometers, depending how much speed you can grab. And clutch failed to initiate. So I clutch kicked in and lost the clutch. And he drove straight into my back and totaled my car and totaled his car. Mm-hmm. Both of us got totaled chassis. We both managed to fit the cars together to run again. But when we came up to the start line to move out, we realized we had other issues. So I swapped the clutch, and when I put it back into the car and I launched to go to I left the pit to go to the start line, I discovered that it was the release bearing. And the release bearing is what damaged the clutch because it was sticking. It wasn't
the reason it was not clutch, but
yeah, it was not fully engaging, so it would not push all the way back in. So it was just a small part, $100 that put me out of the event. The car was mended together. The chassis was still twisted, but it's not the chassis, it was the shock tower, but that doesn't really affect the car much. Again, that's the point where I say sink in, because when I say sink, I mean a driver can still drive his car even with the setup on the car damaged and the chassis damaged, he can still understand it quick. And that's, for me, there's a point where a driver becomes one with the car. And at that round, I became one with the car, because no matter what happens to the car, I can still understand that it wants just a little bit more from this, and then it drives good again, and I can understand it. As for Pawel, he was out because everything was done, like his shock towers, his steering rack, everything. They had to technically rebuild the front end because of a part that cost $100. So this is life.
But you fixed it, and for the Germany stage, it was done.
Yeah. So after that, we pulled the shock tower, and then we adjusted again a few things with the car and put in a fresh clutch and fresh release bearing. Tested it, everything was fine. But in Germany, we ran into head gasket issues, but it's still. We worked around it.
And I've noticed that this round, the whole round was quite aggressive and defensive for you, because both of top 32 and top 16, you got the hit with the damage of the car, with the small crashes here with the opponents. So
yeah. So
at the same angle, right? So it was.
The first crash was in the first transition. The second one was at the second transition, and in the chase.
Does not happen. Keski Korpi, I mean, that is a spot in which the momentum can change. So it will come down to where exactly did it happen, and those cones, once again, that is a tough one. It's right in the shadows too, and that makes it even more difficult to see there. So
well, I'm hearing it over my headset. It is the fault of Nasser Alharbali, Mika Keski Korpi in position. And I was going to say, I wasn't going to call you out because we're buddies. We're good friends.
I was
going to call you out.
Every time I say something definitive, the judges tell me I'm wrong.
They tell you you're wrong, which is fine. I had it for years. I still get it now after the event normally.
Learning.
Fire into the first outside zone as Nasser Alharbali keeps his distance, keeps his course. He hunts down the side of the Finnish driver's car. They fire through. Oh, there's going to be contact into the wall. Both guys wedged and sandwiched between the wall and each other.
Yeah, thankfully that wasn't as bad as it could have been.
Again, I'm working on my skills, so I'm improving a lot of things. So one of the things that a lot of drivers fail to understand quickly is understanding when to push. In chasing, pushing all the time doesn't always work. There are points where people need to back out a little bit, and that's what differentiates really amazing chase drivers, is being able to pull back in some sorts of transitions. Understand, some transitions you can't, but some depending on the track, pulling out and pushing in. And these drivers have the ability to understand that. They gain it with experience, and I still need that experience. I can commit to pushing the entire run and maintaining that distance. But anticipating what the other driver does in a transition is what fails me at this point. Because positioning your car properly, timing your transition, and anticipating the driver and the general feel of how he drives. So the drivers that I've chased, they are amazingly drivers. But just like everyone else in Drift Masters, they're all amazing drivers. But some of them just have different styles in their transitions to make a more controlled transition.
You need to be familiar, I guess, with the style of every driver you are upholding.
Yeah, so their transitions were not slow in any way. They were very quick. But the way they position their car and their angle slows them down. Not because they're slowing it down, it's because that's what the car is demanding. And I didn't adapt. In both times, I didn't adapt. In the first crash that I did,
it wasn't your fault.
According to technicality, he was slowing down too much with angle at that zone, and he should have been back on throttle. But the car didn't want that, and I was committing that he's going to be fully back on throttle. Because again, when I'm doing that part of the track, I'm back on throttle at that point. And you're transitioning in the smoke, so you kind of need to trust that the driver will be back on throttle over there. So that one, it wasn't my fault, it was his fault. Also, my position of the car was correct. In the second one against my friend Keski, he was in the correct place, he was at the correct angle, and he actually came up to me and he's like, I slowed down too much. I don't think he slowed down. I think, the angle that he needs would make him feel like he slowed down, but it was 100% my fault because I was on the wrong side. Like my positioning of the car was not in the correct place, which is a big thing I see here in the Middle East.
You need to anticipate more in this case.
Yeah, so I was on the wrong line chasing him. It's not that it's a losing line, but it's not the perfect line. And in that case, even if he had some sort of deceleration, if I hit him over there, I'm already on the wrong spot. So it's purely my fault. Overall, the run wasn't bad, but that was enough to put me out. And then he's a great driver like Keski, so it was easy for him to just put a clean chase, and he had the win. But it was still my best result in Drift Masters so far. So I was still like with a big smile, especially losing someone you like is like really good, because me and Keski are really good friends. For him, it was also his best result in Drift Masters.
Yeah, he was so happy at the result. Yeah,
it was his first time jumping to top 8, so it was also a big moment for him. And I didn't know until I was on the start line when he told me. So I was really happy for him too. And it was a really good weekend for us.
What is the main lesson or feeling you're gaining from drifting?
I can't say that there's really an important lesson. I think the only thing I can pass on, because when you tell me what do I learn, I would think like, what would I tell my son when he's 7?
Yeah, what is the inspiration is coming from?
I would never let my son drift. I will never let him get into drifting. I want my son to get into motorsport because that's something I love, but not drifting. I think drifting isn't the way for him to make a living. At the end of the day, everyone needs to make a living. We all are here because we're making a living. So drifting is not why we are all here. I think most of the people who come to drift are coming to have fun. And I think it's like an easy ticket into motorsport. It requires less skill to get into drifting than to get into another sort of motorsport. Less skill and less money. Because you can't do WRX with the budget we're doing. Not even. I think if you're gonna get into WRX, you're gonna multiply what I do by like maybe 20. And any other form of motorsport, when I'm talking about 4 wheels, I think this is the cheapest form of motorsport. Despite a lot of people going, yeah, but you guys spend like a lot of tires and a lot of things. Yeah, but
compared to the other disciplines, yeah.
Yeah, but compared to the other disciplines where there's a lot of real stress and demand on the cars, where you're doing like a WRX car, like that requires real engineering, like a different level of engineering. Like no matter how good a person is at making a drift car, it requires a lot more skill to make like a rally car. Down here, we're mainly, most of the time, what we're doing downstairs is just maintaining the cars during the season. And fabrication, so the 370, this car was built here. This is exactly where we built it. I built everything over here. I've done most of the fabrication on this car myself. But last season, I had more time because of the season not being so long. It was only 6 events. So I built most of the car myself over here, like the fabrication. And obviously I had someone with me helping me. But the new car, I haven't touched a bolt on it, which makes it weird because I've never had a car that was built for me. The S13, I completely did A to Z alone. I didn't even have someone with me. But it took me like 8 months to build that car. So it's not about being picky, but it's just about if I want to get things done in a specific way, it's better the time around. But
for how much month the last one was done? I mean the new one.
The new one, it's only 4 months. So
and it's done mostly by yourself, yeah?
Nothing was done by me, not even building the engine, nothing. Everything was done A to Z by Ziad. ZK Motorsport, they did everything. But some stuff to simplify things, I got most of the things ready. Because I don't fabricate things because I want to. I fabricate things because I have to. I enjoy building the engines, but fabrication, it is fun, but it's something I would avoid to do because it takes a lot of time. I'd rather just buy something off the shelf that's ready. I'm not interested in fabricating things. But when you have to, you have to. So if I can just run a ready angle kit, a ready suspension, a ready cage, I would do my best to use things off the shelf because that's
that's more convenient.
Yeah,
so it's faster.
It's more convenient.
Yeah.
So that car, the new car, the cage is like just something ready. This is just where we keep the molds for the body kit. Most of the molds right now for like the S13 are at the shop that makes them, and the 370 because I crash a lot. So this is just 370 body kits. So there's like 4 body kits in here, fresh, brand new, ready for OIDC and next season. Hopefully we don't go through them. These are 350 parts, but also the 350 is running low. And then we have the missile, which is a lot. This takes
pretty much
a lot of stuff because this is the bash car, the missile car. And then the S13, everything is in Europe, obviously. We used to stock everything here, but this season, because it's all been like back-to-back events, I got fed up and I shipped everything. And they're done also, so we have to send even more stuff. That's why the molds are with the guys that make the body kits. They're getting them done right now at shop. And then this was supposed to be like a hangout space for...
It's really hangout space. I love this.
Yeah, but
so,
I never get a chance to actually hang out over here. We're
really?
always...
Don't we have a ball for it? Yeah.
No, my son always hides them, so I'm not sure where he put them the last time he was here. But yeah, this was supposed to be like a hangout place, but with such short time, like we never really hang out. Actually, the shop has been quiet for a while. I have one guy that now works for me, and he is doing all the work on the 370. So every time I travel, I would tell him that I'm going to be back at this date, and then we would have a list of things that we want to test on the car. I show up, and he would have them done, and then we test them on the track. Scratch out what we like and what we don't like, and then again back to the drawing board. So we went from just supposedly changing like suspension parts and engine compression ratios to practically now rebuilding the car because we changed the engine already. We changed the front suspension, rear suspension, subframe, and now we even reached the point where we're considering cutting out the cage.
Did you have any plans for participating in the new or old car for the further season? I don't know when it starts for you because it's never ended, yeah?
You mean the summer? The winter, sorry.
I guess starting from the winter, from the October or November, yeah, in the Middle East, and then for the summer season.
So in the winter, I'll be doing the usual that I do. The only thing that I'm not sure if I'm gonna be doing is, because I'm really tired of this summer, is again, I said the same thing last year, but I did end up doing EDC. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna be doing EDC this year. I will definitely show up because I have some of my friends that will be driving my old car in this series. So I will
Mika,
be there.
I
But
guess. Yeah,
Mika, there's Victor, there's Linus, and Rusey maybe. So I will definitely be there, but I'm not sure I will personally be driving. The grassroots competition, I will definitely be joining because I love driving the grassroots.
Super, for OIDC, will you participate in it?
Yeah, of course. So IDC, we already committed with them for doing. Plus, we are one of the main sponsors for IDC. Now, when I say that, I speak on the behalf of Velino. So part of my whole Velino thing is doing OIDC. So. Yeah, definitely. But this year, I'm hoping, with the new changes that we're doing to the 370, so the old 370 that I was using last year, this will be the fixed OIDC car until I decide to go like...
So you'll participate in the old car, not the new you're now
Yeah,
preparing.
The new car, no, we won't even be revealing it until January. So the car is almost done. We're going to start testing it very soon. But it will be specifically built for Drift Masters. And I hate saying that because the last time I said that, the car was so bad. So I'm hoping that it will be as competitive as I want. But if it's not, no big deal. We'll just build another S chassis. I would stay away from drifting. I'd stay away from drifting. I would do something more important than drifting. It sounds very weird because I'm doing drifting, but that's the reality. Like, that's what I would tell my son. Like, I want my son to get into motorsport, but not drifting. Not drifting. Maybe for fun, like just regular practice days. Yeah, why not? It's fun. It's like going skiing, but it's not more than that. It's not a way of making a living. It's a way of spending money for sure, yeah, but not making money. In real life, you know, that's what really matters. Like, you need to make a living, and this is not one of the ways. Even if you reach a point where you make a living out of it, it's not something that I would go like, he's set for life. No, you know, like, it's not something you can build a life out of. It's hard to reach that point. And if you reach that point, it's not going to be a luxurious one. It's going to be an average one. So focus on the stuff in life that really matters. I think that's what's really important. Even if I could have started when I was very young, even if I could have started when I was 13 or 12 or 10 into drifting, or younger, like my son now, he's doing karting, he's only 3.5. And he should be competing by the age 5, like internationally competing. That's my goal, my dream with him. I see it coming. I think we're very close. But if I was at that age and I got into drifting, I don't think I would live the lifestyle that I live today because of drifting. It's really hard, really, really hard. And I think everyone noticed that at one point. So, like, I don't want to name names, but whoever it is that has reached a point where they make a living from drifting and they live off it, I don't think that they're at a point where they go like, I have my family set for life. I've built and done enough for them where they can live a comfortable life. I don't think they can ever reach that point. It's hard. Maybe if they start investing into other things. But just this is not enough. Just selling merch or just depending on sponsors, where if they reach a point where like they lose a leg or an arm, they lose everything. That's not life, you know, that's not a proper career. So stepping into something that can make more money in motorsport and then using that money to actually focus on real things in life, like investing into stocks or trading or maybe real estates or whatever other thing, but having enough income to create something else and then relying on it and focusing on the real things in life, like family, like kids, like the things that matter, that actually matter, is more important than just having fun in drifting. Even if you like drifting and you want to do it for the rest of your life and all of that, you have to have the basics in your life ready. So for someone that's 18, because I see it a lot in Europe right now, there's a lot of newcomers, kids that are 15, 16, 17, that are getting into drifting, and they think that if they're going to podium after every round, that they succeed in life. They're not. You're not succeeding in life if you do that. In drifting, you cannot reach that point to succeed in life because you are podiuming every time in drifting. At any competition it is, you can't. It's very hard. People that are at the peak of it, they've reached the peak of it at a late time in life, and it's enough because they've learned to accept little. And if you learn to accept little, you're never really going to succeed in what really matters in life. I don't want my son one day to have to worry about paying his medical bills unless he podiums. You know, that's not a way of living. The stress behind it is just insanity for people to think that drifting is everything. It's not everything. I do what I do because I'm set. So I just don't want new generation to mix up what I'm doing when they go like, oh, this guy is competing here and here and here and there, because I'm set. If I'm not set, I wouldn't be wasting my time doing this right now. Like, I wouldn't be focusing on this. It's not gonna be something you can sustain doing for a long time. Maybe 2-3 years, but then you're gonna realize that you messed up and then you have to take some really bad job and it's wrong. Definitely stay away from drifting. Clear away from drifting. Do it for fun, not more.